kind reminder before going to the next step. Do not apply foundation on your hands or wrists to determine whether it matches your skin. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Haja, and in today's tutorial I want to teach you how to find your foundation matching shade. I personally worked at Sephora part-time for a year a few years ago, and the biggest problem the clients had were nothing else than their correct foundation match. After helping clients to find their perfect foundation shade more than half the time I spent in Sephora, I can proudly say that today I am able to find the correct shade of others and mine just by seeing the foundation bottle. That is why I want to share a technique called the striping method technique with you, so you can apply it on yourself without the help of a consultant who most of the time is too busy to be available for you anyway. So first of all, we want to talk about the undertone, because that is the most important thing to know before going to the depth of the shades. So basically, your undertone is what determines the hues that suit you best. Have you ever experienced a time where someone around you notices that a color makes you really look vivid or alive? Because that's a sign that you have alighted on a shade that really complements your natural skin tone or shade. For example, if you have a warm undertone like me, it means that your skin is more yellow, gold, and olive, whereas those with a more cooler undertone have a skin composed of pink, blue, and red tones. Nevertheless, you can also be somewhere in the middle, in which case you would be classed as neutral. With that being said, the first and most important step is to find your correct undertone. Most of the time you can guide yourself looking for hints following the names of the shades. When the shade name starts with rose or ivory, you know it's more for a cool, fair skin shade. Now, when it starts with beige, gold, or sand, you know it has a warm undertone. And last but not least, when it is titled as peach or honey, then the shades tend to have a neutral undertone. Of course, I want to share with you other ways in which you could determine your undertone much better. I have the vein test, which you might have heard of. Depending on which color your veins are, you can determine your undertone. So to determine what color your veins have and which undertone you do have, you need to look at your veins in natural daylight, and also try not to be in the cold, since veins are constricted, and that is why they will be less visible to you, at least their color. And that is why it is recommended to do that this indoor, where you have your room temperature. And yeah, so what you basically would do is take a look under natural light and see what color you have. If you have a cool blue color, blue veins, then you deal with a cool undertone. Now, when you have a green vein like I do, then you can tell that you are a more warm undertone person. It can also be a little more complicated if you do not have green or blue veins, but something in between, then you are more of a neutral undertone person. Another way to determine your undertone is by wearing jewelry. Yes, you heard it right. Have you ever noticed that when you wear silver, it just doesn't look flattering enough? It's basically because of your undertone. When you are a more cool undertone person, you can wear silver jewelry so much better than the person who has a warm undertone. Now, if you look good in both, let's say you can wear gold and silver, then you're a neutral. And the last way to determine your undertone is by holding a white shirt next to your face, or just wear it and see whether your skin color next to the white t-shirt turns pinkish, rosy toned. If it's the case, then you're a cool undertone person. Now, if you look yellow or olive next to the t-shirt, then you're more likely to be a warm undertone person. Now, if you don't see any changes which are like very visible to the eye, then you have probably a neutral skin undertone. I would highly recommend you to try all of the 3 tests I have introduced to you, just to be more sure what undertone you have. A surface tone is a tone that is not permanent, like a tan or a current skin condition, like redness due to temperature fluctuations during the seasons, for example. So you have to take in consideration that the surface tone does not determine your real skin shade. On my skin, it's always my red flushed cheeks. That is why you preferably also should move towards the shade that is closer to your body, in our case, the neck. The reason simply is we can color correct surface tones really well with a color correcting cream or primer. What if your skin shade is lighter in the cold seasons and more tan in the sunny seasons? Here I would recommend to still go for the same undertone because your undertone does not change, but instead choose a more darker shade for your tan skin and the light shade for your natural skin shade. Try to again explore the correct depth by applying the striping method. Now let's assume you're in a store at Ulta or Sephora and you want to get your foundation match, and there is no one who can help you because they are all busy. I would recommend you to dare and do it yourself. Just go to the foundation brands you want to try out and look for 2 to 3 shades with your chosen undertone in different depths. What that basically means is now you need to look for your skin tone and not your skin undertone, because we just determined your skin undertone. It's the hue of your skin, and now we need to look for your skin tone, which is basically the different depths of your skin shade, which can be fair, light, medium, dark, deep, or tan. This is how they are called. You would basically choose 2 to 3 shades with your chosen undertone in different depths that are the closest to your own skin depth. I would recommend you to look for a light option, which is still close to your own skin tone, and a medium, light, or dark, and a dark option shade that is the closest to your skin. Once you've done that, we now go to the application step. The correct way is to apply the 3 shades while applying a stripe of each foundation next to each other, starting from the half of your face, dragging it down up until your neck. The reason we do that is to make sure the shade matches both our face and body, because our face might have another shade due to a current surface tone. Before they dry, blend each stripe well onto your skin and wait a few minutes to observe whether the foundations get darker, because that often happens since the formula of the foundation oxidizes, which basically means it gets in contact with oxygen, and that is why it changes. Just like we see that on some fruits like banana or apples, when they are too long outside without any covering like a foil, then they turn brownish, and that is what happens to foundation formulas as well. This process doesn't happen in every foundation brand. It might happen more or less just in some brands. One example is MAC Studio Fix and Huda Beauty Faux Filter. So I hope you can follow along. All three foundations had the same undertone. They were warm, based on my skin undertone, of course. The only thing is that this one is obviously not matching because it is too dark. And this one, I don't know whether you can still see it, but it is a little brighter than my skin shade at the moment, but it still would look good if I apply some contouring and some blush and in general some color to my face, but still it's not the perfect match. This one is basically the perfect match. As you can see, you can't see the stripe anymore. It just melted into my skin tone and is invisible. It just looks like a second skin, and that is what we're aiming for, a second skin effect with foundation on, not a mask, because when it just looks like a mask and it separates your face from your neck, then it is not your match. Please take note that if the foundation turns out grayish on your skin or dull, then it is probably too light for your skin. And if it just turns muddy and orange like this one, then it is too dark. So my match at the moment is the Perfect Match by L'Oreal in the shade 3D or 3W Golden Beige. I'm going to apply it all over my face so you can see how it will make my complexion look more even and better. Now I apply the chosen foundation shade all over my face using a buffer brush by Alpha Makeup. Then I go over it with a beauty blender to make the application more smooth and seamless. As you can observe, although this shade is my match, my face lost its shadows and natural lights. Hence, it is important to highlight and contour the face to get back some structure. That's it for this informative tutorial about how to find your foundation match. I hope you found this helpful and will be able to always wear your foundation seamlessly from now on. I highly recommend you to give it a try. Also, let me know in the comment section whether you knew the foundation striping technique or not. Furthermore, I would kindly ask you to leave me a thumbs up if you have enjoyed watching and subscribe to my channel for more helpful beauty tutorials and vlogs.